ever have trouble remembering something? Sometimes I have trouble remembering something that just happened. Like, I forgot what I ate for breakfast this morning. Was it cereal? No, wasn't cereal. Oatmeal. No, it wasn't oatmeal. Pancakes? No. Oh, but there was syrup involved. Waffles. I had waffles. Boy, I really don't like it when I can't remember something. And I'm so glad I figured out what it was that I had forgotten. But could you imagine if you woke up one day and you had forgotten what you were supposed to eat? I mean, ever. Like, you have no idea what you were supposed to eat. Well, that reminds me of a book that came out just a couple of years ago, and it's really funny, and it is called What Does an Anteater Eat? And this book is by Ross Collins, and it is very funny, and that's exactly what happens to our friend, the anteater. One day, he wakes up, and he can't remember what he's supposed to eat at all. Boy, that would be rough. I wish I knew what anteaters ate, because then I could help him out. I could tell the anteater what he's supposed to eat. Maybe I could ask somebody for help. Maybe I could ask my uncle? No. Maybe I could ask my aunt? No. Well, you know what? Here's what I'm going to suggest. If you're looking for a very funny story and you think you know what an anteater eats, I think you should check this book out. What Does an Anteater Eat? By Ross Collins. Now, talking about this book reminds me of a really fun activity that I like to do. I like to make hats, and sometimes I like to make really simple hats that look like headbands, and I know how to make an ant hat. Would you like to learn how to do it? Great, I'll show you everything we need. Let's do it. All right, so we're gonna make some ant headbands. Now, these headbands that we're gonna make, whenever I used to do story time at the library, sometimes we would do stories that I wanted to make like a hat or something like that. Sometimes we made super elaborate hats, but really some of the most fun we had is when we made a really simple headband hat. We did rabbits and we did bears, and one time we did bugs. And so I want to show you how to make the bug headband, and to me it kind of looked like an ant. So it's perfect to tie into the book, What Does an Anteater Eat? So here's what you're going to need. The first thing is a pair of scissors. Now, grown-ups, if you want to do the cutting, totally fine. If you've got a little one who you think can handle some safety scissors, let them try. Even if it's not straight, this should still work out okay. So you're going to need some scissors. Construction paper is great, and this is for whatever color you want your bug to be. If you want green, fine. If you want to do a red ant or a black ant, you'll want red paper or you'll want black paper, but you need some construction paper. If you do not have construction paper, because not everybody's like me and has just a plethora of weird stuff in my house, if you don't have any construction paper, that is okay. You can also just use some white paper or even some notebook paper, because then you can take some crayons and have your little guy color whatever they want. They can make it whatever color they want, or even put designs on it. So if you don't have construction paper, not a big deal. White paper will work just fine. The next thing you are going to need is a way to attach everything. Now, I recommend tape. I like using masking tape, especially with little fingers, because it's sometimes easier to tear and handle, but a Scotch tape will work just fine. If you don't have tape, we have used staplers before to make our headbands. However, you have to be careful. If you're going to use staples, I mean, the kids I think are fine as long as they don't get their fingers down here. They can staple okay. Where the problem comes in is when you actually staple the headband and the parts together, you don't want the staples to accidentally scratch the heads. So if you can make sure that everything's bending in the right way and nobody's going to get scratched, a stapler will work. Or if you have nothing but time on your hands, you can always use glue or a glue stick. But for me, tape is way easier and way faster. So I'm going to use some tape. The last thing that you need is some pipe cleaners. Although I was told years ago I'm not supposed to call them pipe cleaners anymore. They are called chenille stems. So whatever. Fuzzy sticks, chenille stems, pipe cleaners. Hey, these things that are thin wire with fuzz on the outside. You need these. Now I know I said you needed construction paper, but you do also need some white paper or notebook paper. See, that's why I said you could use that as well too. So you're gonna need all that stuff. Once you have it, let me show you what we're gonna do. Okay, your first step is you need to measure to see how big you need to make the strip of paper that's going around the head. If you hold up your piece of construction paper, you will see that it probably does not go all the way around their head. That's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to cut strips. Now I know from holding it up against my head that mine barely goes around halfway, so I am probably going to need 2 full widths of this paper. I might need more. I've got a pretty big head. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut the paper just like this. Now, if you'd like, you could always get out a pencil and ruler if you want to make these exact. That is totally not necessary. One of the things I like to do, just so I can get it kind of close, is I will just fold my paper over, maybe twice, since I've got a big head and I'm probably going to want more than 1 strip of paper. So go like that and just kind of crease. It does not have to be perfect. Now I've got some lines in there, and I will take my scissors and we will cut along these creases. Now I might need more than 2, and if so, I'll just cut that strip when we need it. So let's find out if 2 is going to be enough. So you are going to lay them end to end, and you're going to put a little bit of tape on there. Now if you use Scotch tape, of course, you won't see the tape, which is kind of nice, but really it doesn't matter to me because I normally put the seams on the side of my head anyway. But you'll want to put some on the other side so that your paper doesn't separate when you wrap it around. And it doesn't need to be a lot of tape, just a little bit on the seams. Now, measure your head to see if it is long enough. Just as I feared, I need a little bit more paper. So if yours fits, then measure it off and add your tape. I have to put an extension on my fat head. Once you have your headband that goes around, now it is time to decorate this so that it looks like your ant headband. The first thing you're going to do is you are going to take your 2 pipe cleaners or chenille stems, and you are going to put those to where they are in the front of your headband. So just lay that flat and add a little tape. Once those are taped in place, you're going to take the ends, and I like to twist mine, so just kind of curl it around your finger, like so. That way they're kind of curly. I think that looks good. So now we have our antenna, but I want to put some eyes on the front of mine. So here's what we're going to do. We take our white paper and we're going to draw a couple of eyes. So I'm going to go nice big ovals like this. And we'll put a dot in there for the pupil. And now cut those out. Once you have your eyeballs cut out, go back to the front of your headband, and you can lay it flat if you would like, to where you see the front of your antenna. And then on the back of your eyeballs, you are going to roll up a piece of tape. Again, if you're going to use glue, you can use glue, but be careful if you're doing staples. We're going to put a little roll of tape right on the back of each one of these eyes, like that. And then we are just going to attach them to our headband like so. I'm going to move this one over just a pinch. Another reason I like tape. There we go. Now the only thing left to do is to put it on. And there you have it, one ant headband. Now this is a really fun and simple craft that you can do with your kids. And guess what? You could do all kinds of animals. You could do the headband and draw bunny ears. Like I said, that was always one of our favorites. But you could do all kinds of stuff. Big floppy dog ears that come down the side. So have fun, and this is perfect for getting your imaginations going for some fun imaginative play. Guys, thank you so much. I will see you next time. In each video in this series, we're going to take a minute or so to teach you a pre-reading skill that you can use with your child to help them grow into becoming a lifelong reader. Now, don't worry, they're not overly complicated. They're simple things that you can do that will really help your child. Vocabulary. By vocabulary, we mean knowing the names of things and knowing the meaning behind those words. So, the more words your child has heard by the time they get ready to start reading, the easier reading will be. If they come across a word maybe they've never heard before, it's going to make reading a little bit more of a struggle. So introduce your child to a lot of words. Here's a few things you can do to incorporate more vocabulary in your child's reading time. Take time before or even during a book when you're reading. If you come across a word that is unfamiliar to your child, explain what that word means. Sometimes they'll ask you what the word means, but if they don't, but you can tell they're confused, just take a moment and explain the meaning of that word. But under no circumstances, replace that word with another one. Introduce that new word. That's what we're trying to do here, is increase that vocabulary. So do not replace the word. Talk about words' other meanings. In the English language, we know it can be complicated and confusing with all the homonyms and things. So if you come across a word that has multiple meanings, maybe take a moment and explain the different meanings that that word can have. Try reading a nonfiction book, or at least looking at the pictures in a nonfiction book, because in nonfiction, oftentimes there's vocabulary that maybe doesn't appear in the picture books that we're used to reading to our child. Especially with babies and toddlers, make sure and point out real versions of the words that you're introducing. You're introducing mangoes, show them a mango, whether it's real or a picture of it, but point to things in the world around you and introduce new words to your child that way.